Hello again, Michael Friedberg here from beautiful North Carolina, and today I have a new soap for review from the Netherlands, and I'm also going to be using a razor I have not used for quite some time. So first, let's talk about the soap. Today it's going to be the soap from Scheermonnik. This is the Delfts Wit, the Delft White. This is a soap ambachtelijke scheerzeep uit het historische stadshart van Delft, which is a beautiful, beautiful town in the Netherlands. So let me just show you what the soap looks like. So you can see a nice light brown color. This is a coconut, shea butter, and castor seed oil based soap. The scent on this one, I would say the scent strength out of the container is mid. It's not strong or overwhelming, but a really nice kind of complex mix of scents. And I'm going to try to remember them all if I can. I believe it is Italian bergamot, applewood, tonka bean, patchouli, cedarwood, and oak moss. And that's just the first layer. Then I believe there is cardamom, allspice, and vanilla bourbon or bourbon vanilla as the second piece in there. And what I get off this is a light citrusy scent, but on top of a very nice complex woody spicy scent. And the woody spicy scent is what lasts. The citrus is where it starts, but really what you get out of this, at least for me, as the primary scent notes, is a very nice mix of spice and wood. Again, scent strength is not really strong. I would say kind of mid. Let's go ahead and talk about the razor now. I'll get that lathered up in just a moment. I have, as I'll show you in just a moment, as you can see, a pretty good sized chunk put back into the Captain's Choice lather bowl, loading bowl. Today's razor is going to be the Mongoose, and I pulled this out because I was watching some of the 7 sins of wet shaving, and I realized, well, of all the things I have, that's probably the most expensive, the thing that I don't use the most, that's actually a combination of those two in one, which is the Mongoose. I have one of the original 48. I was really quite happy to be included in that. Matt and Bruce have done a fantastic job on building this brand in response to another single edge razor that simply just was not mechanically living up to its reputation or to its price. And they've certainly done quite a good job sort of rejuvenating a market for a certain style of razor blade. It is a 3-piece razor, top cap. As you can see, it has 2 small posts, which is where the blade will fit. The blade in this instance is a Kai Mild. I've tried both the Feather Professional and the Kai Mild. Just going to place that in there. It snaps into place pretty easily. You know, those 2 posts hold the blade in there, you know, no issues. Base plate, which you just sort of fit on. Now, this there'll always be a moment where it sort of snaps into place, and once it's in place, it just doesn't move. So once it's done, finished. Washer, that's going to go on. Now, what I would normally do is I would use the original handle that I got with this, which is the Dub Slim. This is another heavy handle. It's the Dub Legend was even bigger than this. Overall, this makes the razor a little bit heavy for me, and it is a smooth handle. It's not slippery, but it is smooth. But I'm not going to go for that today because I've been lent this very cool custom brush which is aluminum, but which has a really interesting kind of, you can see, curved spiral pattern in there with a bit of different notching on the bottom of the handle. Standard threading. It's light. It looks big, but it's really quite light, and it was designed to help make it easier to hold the razor handle. If you have any issues with your hands or grip, and a small or a heavy handle is not for you, a larger handle with a lot less weight can be a great option. And this, as a custom solution, well, it looks cool, and there's only one of them. Well, maybe there's more, but I only know of one. So I'm going to use that on the Mongoose for today. All right, let's go and get the soap lathered up. I'm going to be using, for today, it's going to be the Semogue Owners Club in cherry with the boar knot. I have been starting off these soaps with a dry brush. A wet brush, at least in this bowl, creates a lot of foamy lather right off the bat, but that's just because of the way that the bowl actually helps the lather process. I'm going to give this a good shake. It's going to be lightly damp, and then what I'll do is, as I load it, you'll see it begins to create bubbles right away. I'm going to start loading it a little bit, and then because I've started off with quite a dry brush, I'm going to just add a few drips of water and just continue to load the brush. Now, I don't have much soap in here, so You know, part of this is a problem of my own making. If you're lathering out of the container, obviously this is a lot easier to load the brush completely. But I only have a little bit put in here because I always scoop out enough for the week, so I'm not actually lathering out of the container. In case I happen to give that container away to somebody, I can always say with hand on heart that I've never ever gotten that soap actually wet. As you can see, lathers quickly and easily. That's still a little bit frothy. It needs a bit more water, obviously. I'm going to continue to add some water to the dish, and then we'll keep loading the brush, and then we'll start lathering. And not to worry, the lather in the bowl is not going to go to waste. I've used that every day. And that's looking pretty good. And if I need to, of course, I'll simply go back and just reload the brush. I've done that a couple times for the third pass, just because there was just like a little dot of soap left in the bottom. All right, let's go ahead and... Part of that is a little bit airy because that's the part that's been riding up on the side of the bowl, but the other part will be, as you can see, already nice and creamy. It's clearly going to need more water. Been helping to answer a few questions on some of the forums about people struggling with lather drying out or just not quite sure if their lather is really good. You know, anytime your lather is drying out while you are shaving, well, you are obviously not using enough water. And I think what happens in a lot of cases is that what looks like a good lather, because it's white, just isn't really hydrated enough. Like this still sounds a little airy to me, a little foamy. It's not for lack of soap, it's for lack of water. As you can see what's happening here, the issue, no issue at all with building a lather. Just needs more water. I'm just going to drip a bit onto the brush. I'm going to pull off some of the lather that's on the edge of the brush that's going to threaten to fall into the sink, which I don't want to have happen. And just keep building. Just keep working the lather. You can hear already, sounds a little less airy. And you can see it's starting to peak and billow a little bit. Very easy to lather. And the scent strength is, well, you can definitely still smell it, but it's stronger out of the container than I think it is when lathered. There we go. I'm going to add just a touch of water to that. Yeah, there we go. There, perfect. All right, yeah, as I said, soap is really easy to use. Been a real joy to use during the week. And let's just see how it goes with the Mongoose. Now, I have not used this razor for a long time. As I said, it was certainly at the time the most expensive razor I had purchased. It is certainly one of my prized razor possessions, as I said, one of the first 48 out there. But as soon as I started shaving with it again, I remembered why I put this thing away. And it's not because of the razor. It is because of feel of the blade. There's something about these blades there's something about the edge of this blade, and I don't know exactly what it is, whether it's the rigidity or the way that the blade is ground, but as well as it works, I don't find it pleasant to use. And yes, I know there are obviously other single-edged blades out there, which I've not really had a chance to go back and explore because I had so many other DE razors to work through that really don't have this issue. And it's a shame because you can get a really nice shave off this razor. My other problem with these blades is that I find it very easy to get small weepers or just tiny nicks. You don't even feel them, but they've happened. As for the handle, it is really quite easy to hold and feels really secure in the hand. It's funny, I never really think about, trying to go through and work with somebody on custom handles or things like that other than on the brushes. But this handle is just a really interesting take on a way to make it easier for a person to shave if in fact traditional handles are a little too thin and or a little too heavy. There's lots of people out there that would be more than willing to turn a handle for you, and I'm sure in a variety of media. All right, pass number 2. Now the other thing about the Mongoose for me is that particularly on these second and third passes, there are 2 areas under my neck I need to really watch. And just watch the pressure in general. There we go. Yeah, it's funny. One of the first soaps I used, when we first moved on to this whole wet shaving craziness, were some soaps from the Netherlands, very old school soaps. I think the oldest shaving soap in the world, which is, of course, the Vergulde Hand, the Gilded Hand, which I used as the shave stick format, the Scheerstaaf. A very old school hard soap, very easy to use, and a slightly citrusy kind of scent, very clean soapy scent. And then you move on to something like this, which is obviously small batch artisan made soap from Delft, which is just, it's just amazing to see how the market is developing. And it looks like Scheermonnik as a business is beginning to branch out quite a bit and starting to see his products in some other places as well. So good for him. All right, this is going to be the across the grain. The head is also slightly wider, of course, than a regular DE. So that's something to think about. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but as soon as I started shaving with this razor again, it just came back to me exactly the particular feel of the blade. Which ironically, of course, I've tried these blades in the Feather Camisori as well, and it's the same sensation. Something about, I don't know, just something about the blade. And that's just not great for me. I don't know how well the blades with the guards would actually do in the Mongoose, not having tried any of those. There might be a 2018 activity. There's a bit of a rasp. And for some reason, when I hear that rasp, and this may be true for you too, just instinctively, I feel like press down to kind of get over it, and you gotta really watch that here. I don't really just have to tell yourself, no pressure. Right here is where it really struggles for me, just because of the size of the head and the angle. Getting the corner in is not always comfortable. There we go. Which is the opposite under here, because of course there's no overhang, so it gets very easy to get the blade in really close under your nose. Pluses and minuses, as with every razor. All right, that was the second pass already done. Just taking it easy and really trying to watch the pressure. I've had a couple shaves this week where certainly for example, in that third pass, I'm gonna load up a bit more soap, just wet the tips of the brush a little bit and just go back and load a little bit extra. No reason in this circumstance to have a little bit too thin of a lather for the third pass, and I'm just going to load up the brush a little bit more. There we go. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I have to say, really enjoyed the soap, and you know, for example, now when you smell it, what really comes out for me is the mix of the woods and the spicing. The bergamot is a bit lost at this point, but I don't think that's supposed to be the primary note that you get. Beautiful soft texture, easy to lather, easy to work with. There we go. Just going to squeeze a little bit. There we go. Yeah, as you can see, easy to lather, nice slick lather. No issues with the, with anything like blade tugginess or friction or a lack of slickness. No issues there at all. Just something about the edge of that blade. Okay, now here, this is the against the grain. Again, as always, pulling my ear. And this is the pass where, for me, that face feel of the blade is really a problem. In that one spot, just not comfortable. And it's funny how it all sort of came flooding back in that first shave. There we go. And what's funny is because I tend at that point to hold the razor at the bottom, the thickness of this handle actually in that case is a bit of a detriment, but just makes it hard to really pinch it, at least feel comfortable doing it. All right, nice. Now, so see that's not even really a cut. That's just where somehow it's gotten so close. Just a tiny bit of blood. That's happened every day. All right, let's rinse off. Now, when you rinse your face with the soap, you get a good feeling of some residual slickness. It takes a bit of work to rinse. This is by the way, with this razor, I have not in any day this week gone through and made like a quick touch-up pass. Just one, a lot of ways not necessary because it's actually a really close, clean shave. But also, I just have a feeling that if I do that, that's where I'm going to nick myself. All right, rinsed. Yeah, post-shave feel, so there's still a layer of slickness there. Post-shave feel is really pretty good. I mean, this still feels slick. I'm going to towel off, obviously, but I don't have any kind of tightness in my skin. Doesn't feel like I've been dried out too much. No issues with the post-shave. Yep, still a very slight layer of slickness. Yeah, I mean, that is a very efficient shave, but in some parts really not a very comfortable shave. And there's sort of a fundamental lack of comfort because of the blade. It just makes it very hard to keep going back to that razor. Okay, now I picked up the Scheermonnik soaps while I was traveling overseas, while also picked up the following. A friend organized a haircut for me while we were visiting in Poznan. Wonderful little barber shop. The guy did a fantastic job. After the haircut, we started talking about the variety of shaving products they offer, because of course they also do actual full shaves there. And he sort of mentioned in passing, hey, by the way, there's also this eau de cologne, which is actually made in Poznan, has been made in Poznan since 1999. It is the Przemysławka, and it is a light citrus, slightly powdery, very old school European aftershave eau de cologne scent. It is not what I would consider to be a modern artisan aftershave. It is not full of all kinds of skin nourishing ingredients at all. It's really just an eau de cologne, but easily used as an aftershave, and it smells fantastic. It has just a beautiful light citrus and powdery scent that just somehow goes really well with the soap. This closes it off, starts off in the soap with the light bergamot scent, and you can close it out with a bit of a heavier citrus scent from the delightful Przemysławka. Say that 3 times fast. I'm going to put on a little bit more. There is, of course, a bit of an alcohol hit when you use this, because it is, well, it's an eau de cologne. Not really 100% designed to be used as a straight up aftershave, but that's what I'm going to do. That shave ended really quite nicely, and that is in part absolutely thanks to the soap, because the soap is slick and does a great job. Really nice, easy protective lather, very nice post-shave skin feel. All right, let's go through and cover the ingredients for today's shave ingredients, whatever. So today, the soap, Scheermonnik, uit Delft. This is the Delfts Wit, the Delft White. I have 2 other scents, which is the Delfts Donderslag, which is the thunderclap, and also the Souk, which is kind of a throwback to a Sinterklaas kind of scent, which I'm really quite looking forward to using as well. There's a view of the soap again. As again I said, it's just a coconut oil based soap, shea butter, and castor seed oil. A nice, at least I really quite like the scent. It's a nice mix of kind of woodsy and spicy scent, with a touch of citrus from the bergamot at the beginning there. Really nice scent. Scent strength, middle. Not really like strong or pungent. Fades a bit while you're shaving, but then obviously while you're lathering, you get a good whiff of it from the brush. I like that soap. That soap has worked great all week. Easy to lather, slick, protective. No issues with skin drying out. Post-shave feels pretty good. It does come, for those of you that don't like these, it does come in these metal tins. I had a small, this is just my own fault, I did this myself, but if you don't like these tins because they dent, well, in fact, they do dent, so that's just something to bear in mind. If you don't like the metal tins, then that may not be the soap for you. Of course, you can buy it and just move it into another tin if you want to get crazy, or a plastic tub. Okay, today's razor, well, it's my old friend, the Mongoose. As I said, one of the first 48 that they made, and I was really happy to buy into this. I'm really proud of the work that the guys did. Bruce and Matt both did a fantastic job going through the designs, testing, and brought a really nice competitive product to market. Really quite pleased with it. Not a big fan of these blades, but I'll obviously keep trying to find out if there's something else that makes us a bit more comfortable. Very efficient shave, very easy to use. Alternative handles, you can use, this is just the regular standard threading, so if you have a handle that you like, you can try swapping out the handles that they sell. But of course they also make aluminum ones now, which are lighter and come with a different handle style. This was the full stainless steel one. With this crazy custom handle, aluminum, light and big. Very, very nice razor. I just wish I had a blade in there that I could really learn to love. And then we're going to close it off with an eau de cologne from one of my favorite cities, Poznan, Poland. This wonderful eau de cologne being made there since 1919. So old school, absolutely, and quite a long run there. The Przemysławka, the original. Now I think they also make a lemon or citrus scented version of this, and if that's the case, I'm 100% going to pick that up as well. I think that's it. I think we've covered everything. See how we did there. Well, that is pretty good. A nice, clean, pretty easy shave. Just have to really be careful with the mongoose there, just because of some of the angles, some of the places, and just because it is prone to, because of that blade. Just gotta watch the pressure there. Just be careful and go slow a little bit. All right, well, I think that's it for today, everybody. Thank you again so much for watching. I really appreciate the time you're taking to watch these. As always, please feel free to leave a comment or question, and I try to get back to those as quickly as I can. And until next time, goodbye.